Where do they go? Words no one wants, no one uses anymore. When fathers die and mothers don't remember. All the love words and forever words, when the mouth moves on to other words, other people. 1,000 secrets make the body a bow, but the arrow shot from its mouth is always a word.
कौन कहता है कि कागज़ का दौर ख़त्म हुआ? कौन कहता है कि कागज़ का दौर ख़त्म हुआ? शेर तो आज भी दर्द की स्याही में ही लिखे जाते हैं.
Small talk, big talk, dirty talk, pillow talk, baby talk, sleep talk, bilateral talks. We have ways to make you talk. We need to talk.
एक गीत था जो दिल के टूटने पे उमड़ पड़ा. एक गीत था जो दिल के टूटने पे उमड़ पड़ा. सालों से सुर में है, ताल भी नहीं चूका. कमबख्त न थकता है, न ख़त्म होने का नाम लेता है.
Hello, your voice is breaking. Did I just say what I just said? I don't know how to say this. I will say this just once. Is it something I said? Don't say it, don't say it. Say something, say anything. You don't talk to me anymore. No one speaks to me like that. No one.
ये क्या कम है कि दिन में एक ही आह निकलती है. ये क्या कम है कि दिन में एक ही आह निकलती है. लोग हैं कि एक शेर में मानते ही नहीं.
Lies, men tell women to get them into bed. Lies, women tell the men they cheat. Old yellowing letters at the bottom of a trunk. 50-pound weakling words that get sand kicked in their face. Words totally reversible, I do, because no one does, not really, not for long. Words that jump from behind a sofa screaming, surprise! Words that jam your hands on the wheel long after the lights turn green. And words you hear between your legs.
Wow, that's good. फिर कोई उम्मीद तेरी धड़कनों में बस जाए. फिर कोई उम्मीद तेरी धड़कनों में बस जाए. फिर तेरी पत्थर दिली मेरे सोए रूह को आजमाए. फिर तेरे रात और दिन से दिल की हो. फिर तेरे रात और दिन से दिल की हो सरगोशियां. फिर वही लफ्ज़ों सी यादें हम अकेले गुनगुनाएं. फिर पुरानी हसरतों के जाम हंसकर पी ले हम. फिर पुरानी हसरतों के जाम हंसकर पी ले हम. फिर उन्हीं से टूट कर यूं चंद गज़लें और गाएं. फिर कहीं आवाज़ तेरी नज़्म औरों को सुनाएं. फिर कहीं आवाज़ तेरी नज़्म औरों को सुनाएं. फिर किसी बारिश की धुन में आंसुओं को हम छुपाएं. फिर किसी सौदे में हारें फिर लुटाए हस्तियाँ. फिर किसी सौदे में हारे फिर लुटाए हस्तियाँ. फिर किसी नाकाम इश्क से मर के जिंदा लौट आए. मर के जिंदा लौट आए.
Men. They will kneel around her in a circle so she would wear a skirt made entirely of men one day. But right now, no man in her life. She grew pale and uninteresting, her hymen alone healthy as a horse. Then she met him. Bluebirds flew out of her ears, jasmine bloomed under her nose. Until the earth splits or the sky falls, two mouths ask for nothing more than to mash each other up. Follow that man, she told her feet.
बात तो है तुम में कि बात करने को दिल करता है. बात तो है तुम में कि बात करने को दिल करता है. जवाब आता नहीं पर पुकारने को दिल करता है. एक गजल. इश्क के सजदे में ये नेमत नसीब हुई. इश्क के सजदे में ये नेमत नसीब हुई. चाहते थे तोहफा जिनसे कीमत नसीब हुई. इस शाम के सदक़े के हमने खोए दो जहां. इस शाम के सदके के हमने खोए दो जहां, इस शाम में तन्हाई की निस्बत नसीब हुई। दुआ थी हम सफ़र की जो ताउम्र साथ दे, दुआ थी हम सफ़र की जो ताउम्र साथ दे, सिला मिला के हिज्र से उल्फत नसीब हुई।
Let me tell you a story, the story of my life. That's a whole other story. Story so far. Cock and bull story, sob story, inside story, cover story, moral of the story, coming of age story, bedtime story. To cut a long story short, story behind the story, stick to your story, likely story, end of story.
Wow. मोहब्बत की राहें हैं मेरी जान, किसी की नहीं चलती। मोहब्बत की राहें हैं मेरी जान, किसी की नहीं चलती। कहीं दिल नहीं मिलते, कहीं लकीरें नहीं मिलती।
The silence between them was an old t-shirt washed many times. It spoke of familiarity and a 15-year marriage. They could sit like this for hours in restaurants when all around them chattered to impress whoever they were with, on long road trips, and through his colleague's son's funeral when the colleague kept asking them, "Can you believe it? Can you believe it?" They could sit through that, through anything, and not speak a word to each other.
बांट तो ली हमने धूप भी परछाई भी, बांट तो ली हमने धूप भी परछाई भी, पर बारिश में बसा गुजरा कल किसके हिस्से आएगा। ताउम्र के वादे को आग हम दोनों ने बराबर दी थी, ताउम्र के वादे को आग हम दोनों ने बराबर दी थी, तो क्या यादों का बोझ भी बराबर बढ़ जाएगा। फर्क शायद नहीं पड़ता, पर सोचो जरा, झूठ फरेब और जफा के जंगल को जलाने में, झूठ फरेब और जफा के जंगल को जलाने में सच्ची जज्बातों के कुछ पौधे भी तो जल जाएंगे।
If only mobile phones had not been invented, then she'd never know how much she was forgotten, how often he wasn't thinking of her. A silent phone clicks like a gun.
Wow. दम घुटता है, दम घुटता है, दोगले उसूलों की खोखली सलाखों में, फिसलती जबानों से बनी मोम की छतों में दम घुटता है। जी चाहता है फूंक दें इस रेशमी रेत की दीवारों को, उठा के कदम उलट दें कगार से अपने आप को। नई सुबह हो न हो, ये सांप सी रात तो खत्म हो। फिर इस सोच से रोशन हो उठते हैं इंकलाब के शोले, नई उम्मीदों की नई धड़कनें भर उठती हैं सीने में, और उजली रोशनियों में सांस भर के कुछ साल और जी लेते हैं ये उधार की जिंदगी। आखिर तरीका ढूंढ ही लिया लाशों ने किश्तों में जिंदगी बसर करने का।
Compared to all the women he has shaken off, is she going away too quietly? How would he remember her? The clinger, the nag, the wanter of more? She'd gone to him odorless, unjeweled, in underclothes sober as tap water. No shampoo, no deo, no dye, no thong, no heels, no Brazilian wax. Any marks for that?
अब एक गुरूर इश्क का सहारा रहा जीने के लिए, अब एक गुरूर इश्क का सहारा रहा जीने के लिए, बाकियों को तो कब का वार चुके हैं जुनून इश्क पर।
Suddenly, it was like my skirt fell off, and I was standing there naked like I did when Daddy got the jackfruits out. When I had been too much me and needed to be punished, I had to take off my clothes and sit on the jackfruit.
This one is for my Mumbai city. I'd written this a few years ago. ये शहर अनकहे ख्वाबों का, अनगिनत रिश्तों का, पास बैठी दूरियों का, दूर खड़ी मजबूरियों का, कोरे आंसुओं में नंगा नहाता है ये कैसा शहर, ये शहर। सांस लेते मुर्दों का, जिंदा दफन ख्वाहिशों का, पत्थर से जम चुके दिलों का, धूप में जलते उसूलों का, ईमा की लकीरों को हर पल मिटाता है ये कैसा शहर, ये शहर।
I like that कोरे आंसुओं में नंगा नहाता. Nice. She throws back her shoulders. Out comes the phantom breast to play, the one that no longer exists, was cut off by the surgeon's hand. What can she call it? What she had bathed and loved and hated for so long. Damn, she must name it. Monkey darling. It comes to her late at night between a toss and a turn. She sits up and holds her chest. What can you say about memory made of moonlight, mist, mangled skin? Monkey darling.
अपने आप को चुन चुन के समेटते रहे ताउम्र, अपने आप को चुन चुन के समेटते रहे ताउम्र, कहाँ पता था कि किश्तों में बिखरने का नाम ही जिंदगी है।
Can you keep your word? Give your word? Go back on your word? Take my word? Just say the word. Word for word. Word of mouth. Lost for words? Don't put words in my mouth. Away with words. True to his word. Click on this word. Run out of words. Put in a word for me. Word count. Word play. Don't breathe a word to anyone. In other words, mark my words. Eat your words. Words aren't my thing.
बड़ा रंगरेज है ये सफ़ेद बदन से निकलता काला धुआं, बड़ा रंगरेज है ये सफ़ेद बदन से निकलता काला धुआं, निगलते ही टूटकर सैकड़ों रंगीन जज्बातों में बिखर जाता है।
She had hardcore fantasies about his death. Something bulky coming down on his head. Succumbing to venereal disease so new, so fatal, they name it after him. Fed so much poison, his pee is India's leading export in pesticides. Gabbar Singh still tied up men to a pole in her dreams, but she refused to dance despite 2 right feet. She had often heard people say F.O., but never really studied how someone actually fucked off. So undocumented and little known, this act of fucking off. Now told to F.O., she relied on intuition and gut feeling to go with the flow of F.O.
वो तो कोई और थे जो वक्त के हम कदम बने, वो तो कोई और थे जो वक्त के हम कदम बने, हम तो उसको रोकने की चाह में गुजर गए। लोग चांद की हसरतों में आसमां को छू गए, लोग चांद की हसरतों में आसमां को छू गए, हम तो उसकी हिज्र में बस नज़्म लिखते रह गए। फासलों की कैफियत में इस कदर मसरूफ़ थे, फासलों की कैफियत में इस कदर मसरूफ़ थे कि 2 कदम नज़दीकियों से दूर ही चलते रहे। इस कदर मेरी हसरतों को ज़िंदगी ने शिकस्त दी, इस कदर मेरी हसरतों को ज़िंदगी ने शिकस्त दी कि रात भर उम्मीद से मेरे ख्वाब भी डरते रहे। हर तरफ बाज़ार में जब जलवे बेपर्दा हुए, हर तरफ बाज़ार में जब जलवे बेपर्दा हुए, हम तो टूटी चिलमनों का बोझ ढोते रह गए। गुजरे हुए पलों ने भी कहाँ निभाई दोस्ती, गुजरे हुए पलों ने भी कहाँ निभाई दोस्ती, कुछ जख्म बन के मिट गए, कुछ याद बन के रह गए। कब किसी के काम आई इश्क की दीवानगी, कब किसी के काम आई इश्क की दीवानगी, हाथ थामा अक्ल का और अकेले रह गए।
I like चांद की चाह में आसमां छू गए.
Thank you.
Perishables like love and lust are best refrigerated in marriages.
कौन कहता है कि इश्क में सौदा नहीं किया जाता, कौन कहता है कि इश्क में सौदा नहीं किया जाता, क्या मोहब्बत का तोहफा जिंदगी के बदले नहीं दिया जाता।
People talking without listening, words are flowing out like it's only words.
मैंने शिद्दत से मोहब्बत तो बस फकीरी से की थी, मैंने शिद्दत से मोहब्बत तो बस फकीरी से की थी, बस आलम पनाए तकदीर ने शोहरत की दीवार में चुन दिया। अब जाना अनारकली पे क्या गुजरी होगी। I'm sorry, I've lost the next one. बारिश वो नजराना है दर्द का, बारिश वो नजराना है दर्द का जिसे आसमां ने बहा दिया आंसू बनाकर, और जमीन ने हल्के से समेट लिया मोती समझकर। तपती धूप के हाथों कुछ ही दिनों में ये अमानत वापस जो लौटानी थी।
Words, prelingual, virgins on wedding nights, lamps after genies leave, a finger drawing in the vapor on a window pane, like a prayer prayed to listening gods, an old man holding his wife's hand in dementia, the sound of nothing to say, like one mouth kissing, the ungolden silence of silences. I saw what Dad meant when he once explained why he would never move out of his house to live in another city, another country. I'm too old, he said, to set up home elsewhere and begin this lovely circle of friendships again. It takes a lifetime. From the moment he froze on his chair that fateful morning to the last splash of earth on his coffin, there was no dearth of those who were there for him. I know how life works. I understand why a man almost 80 can drop dead. But I need to tell him about the funeral, who came, what they said, because I tell him everything.
अजनबी मोड़ है, खौफ हर ओर है, हर नज़र पे धुआं छा गया, पल भर में ये जाने क्या हो गया। आसमां जर्द है, आहें भी सर्द है, तन से साया जुदा हो गया, पल भर में जाने क्या हो गया। सांस रुक सी गई, जिस्म छिल सा गया, टूटे ख्वाबों के मंजर पे तेरा जहां चल दिया। नूरे खुदा, ओ नूरे खुदा, तू कहाँ छुपा है हमें ये बता। नूरे खुदा, नूरे खुदा, यूं न हमसे नजरे फिरा। नजरे करम फरमा ही दे, दीनो धर्म जगा ही दे। जलती हुई तन्हाइयाँ, रूठी हुई परछाइयाँ, कैसी उड़ी ये हवा, छाया ये कैसा समा। रूह जम सी गई, वक्त थम सा गया, टूटे ख्वाबों के मंजर पे तेरा जहां चल दिया। नूरे खुदा, नूरे खुदा, तू कहाँ छुपा है हमें ये बता। नूरे खुदा, नूरे खुदा, यूं न हमसे नजरे फिरा। उजड़े से लम्हों को आस तेरी, जख्मी दिलों को है प्यास तेरी। हर धड़कन को तलाश तेरी, तेरा मिलता नहीं है पता। खाली आंखें खुद से सवाल करें, खाली आंखें खुद से सवाल करें, अमन की चीख बेहाल करे। बहता लहू फरियाद करे, तेरा मिलता नहीं निशान। रूह जम सी गई, वक्त थम सा गया, टूटे ख्वाबों के मंजर पे तेरा जहां चल दिया। नूरे खुदा, नूरे खुदा, तू कहाँ छुपा है हमें ये बता। नूरे खुदा, नूरे खुदा, यूं न हमसे नजरें फिरा।
I am that woman with no name, with a face you want to see over my face, who burns in pyres because you happen to die, your mortal enemy with enough drink inside you, whom you buy off the streets when the mood takes you. I am that woman your mother handpicked as bride, worth dragging into bushes, dried on a rock so she casts no shadow, soluble in solids, the pill on your tongue you hope will make you feel better. I am the wife and the woman you sleep with behind her back, the one you turn to and turn away from, whose open mouth you fear may swallow you one day, the woman who sings as she hums another song, the woman you make up as you go along.
मिलते ही नज़र शाम का चेहरा यूं खिल गया, मिलते ही नज़र शाम का चेहरा यूं खिल गया, हर हर्फ को होठों का सुर्ख रंग मिल गया। शामे गज़ल की लौ भी इस तरह से जल उठी, शामे गज़ल की लौ भी इस तरह से जल उठी, हर मिसरे में मोहब्बत का ढंग मिल गया। सोचता हूँ हर सांस को उस शब पे वार दूँ, सोचता हूँ हर सांस को उस शब पे वार दूँ, जिस शब को उनकी आरज़ू का संग मिल गया.
You hug yourself on dark nights. In the next room, someone honeymoons.
एक घड़ी और ठहर के जान बाकी है. एक घड़ी और ठहर के जान बाकी है. तेरे लब पे मेरे होने का निशान बाकी है. एक घड़ी और ठहर के जान बाकी है.
There's nothing more ear splitting than a dying word. Listen. We are open to questions. Thank you, Niranjan. Thank you so much. We are open to questions. You can ask.
Thank you so much. That was the first time I ever read my poetry to anyone. So thank you. Thank you for not making me nervous and blanking out.
Niranjan, you are Niranjan Iyengar, I'm presuming South Indian.
Yes.
And you sound like the most Lucknowi guy I've ever met. Like the new, like, you know, well, at least more Javed Akhtar than Javed Akhtar himself. Tell us about your relationship with language and Urdu, of course.
My relationship with languages has always been very intimate. I love languages. I've always loved them. And when I was younger, I used to learn them much faster than I can now. So I have always, I was born and brought up in Dombivli, a part of Maharashtra, so my Marathi was very good. Then at one point, I was surrounded by Gujaratis because my neighbors were all Gujaratis. So I learned how to read, write and speak Gujarati as well. Then there was Tamil, which is my mother tongue. Then there was Telugu because I spent a few years in Hyderabad studying, so I know Telugu as well. Smattering of Malayalam as well because my mother and all her sisters knew Malayalam very well, and whenever they felt they were talking secrets, they used to speak in Malayalam. So I picked up Malayalam as well. English because of my school, and Hindi and Urdu I have a unique relationship with because I think both these languages I picked up because of the movies that I watched. I was a film buff, and I know that a lot of people, I'm surprised myself when people, even people like Javed Saab, whose name you just took, tell me that I'm very well versed in Urdu because I have no formal training in Urdu. All my Urdu speaking and Urdu learning has only been through the songs that I heard as a kid, the poetry, the Sufi poetry that I read, the songs from Pakistan that I heard over and over again for many years. I mean, I even started training in Hindustani classical because I wanted to sing at one point. I know it sounds funny, but like Abida Parveen. So that's why I started learning classical music. And once I started learning, within 2 years, I gave up that dream of singing like Abida Parveen. But Urdu stuck, and I started writing songs very, very recently. It was in 2010, I think, 2009, I started writing songs because of Karan. I always attended his music sittings for his movies. And My Name is Khan was being written, and I was doing the dialogue. And so I had gone for the music sitting, and they were composing a tune, and they just wanted a word which would sort of represent the culture and, you know, be Islamic in its feel, and at the same time be something to do with love, romance, and devotion. And at that time, I was really listening to a lot of Sufi poetry and seeped into it. So I remember coming up with the word sajda. And I said, why don't you use the word sajda? And they all loved it, and Shankar loved it. And he said, yeah, yeah. And he said, but yeah, just a word. I mean, can you think of a line? And I said, yeah, and that's how the 2 lines of sajda came about. Din rain karu nahi chayan karu, lakhwar karu, meri jaan karu. I wrote those lines, and in my head I was thinking these are dummy lyrics which he's composing. He composed them, and he said, okay, but this will be the mukhda, or so to speak, the face of the song, but it should begin in some other way. And he hummed the tune. And as he was humming the tune, I came up with the line, Teri Kali Akhiyon Se, Jind Meri Jage. And once I wrote the line, I said, no, but this line can't be there. And Karan said, why? But it's sounding nice. And I said, but the heroine is Kajal and she doesn't have Kali Aankhein in the film. And he said, shut up, it doesn't matter. And that's how the song came about. And even when I finished the recording of the song, it was never, I never thought they were going to be the final lyrics in the film. I always thought that somebody else would come and probably either improve upon it or change it completely. But I was really tickled that I came up with this entire song. And in all of 30 minutes, he had composed the basic tune, I had written all the words. And I went back home saying that, wow, I mean, this is something that I did and I managed. And I think it took about 4 days for Karan to call me back and he said, you know, everyone's liking the song. So I was like, yeah, so, I mean, it is a great song, it's a great tune. And he said, no, everybody's reacting to the words. So I said, so, I mean, it could be a fluke, Karan is just one song, so what are you suggesting? So he said, try your hand at the other one. And that's when I did Tere Naina, and then I did Noor-e Khuda, which I just read out. So because I was so close to the script, I was working with him as a writer as well, so it helped, I guess, characters. I don't know how it came about, like even today when I look back, I feel it was not planned, it was completely impulsive. And once that happened, then, you know, the word spread and Salim Suleiman were composing for Kurban at the same time. And they said, why don't you try your hand at that? And I wrote the songs for Kurban as well. And then that's how it is. And I don't know, the language is just so beautiful that once you actually start learning it, it's addictive.
Hi. I'm also a big lover of Urdu poetry. I liked all of your poems.
Thank you so much.
But I saw you using different forms, ghazal, nazm, rubai, al-couplet.
Yes.
How do you select the form, or does the form select you?
Honestly, I have to admit and confess that while I am aware of different ways of expressing, like you said, different forms, which is like rubai or a sher or a nazm or a ghazal, I have never studied the form. So what I write, I just write it in a rhythm that's formed in my head. And I think it just then fits into whichever form that you just, I mean, the forms that you mentioned. So there is no conscious way of expressing, and that is the reason why I think I'm a very impulsive poet, in the sense that I really hesitate to call myself a poet, because poetry is not a medium that I have a full grasp of, and it's not like I get a thought and I decide that this I have to express in poetry. Whatever you have read so far have been moments either of inebriation or otherwise, or deep depression or some pain, which has just found itself, you know, traveling through these words.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank
I have
you.
many more questions for both of you, but I won't take time. I'll let others.
Yeah, so this is a question again for Niranjan. I enjoyed all your poems. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
So just two questions. First, do you write in the Urdu script or do you write in the Devanagari script?
No, it's unfortunate that I don't know Urdu at all, and in fact I've been told by a lot of people that I must learn to read and write Urdu, which is on the agenda. But I mean, I started it and then I saw the alphabet and it seemed very complicated and scary to me. So for now, I'm just I put it aside. But at some point, yes, I would like to learn the language. I write in. You'll be surprised. I write in English script. My Urdu poetry.
Okay, and do you plan to publish it?
Like I said, this is the first time, apart from 4 or 5 of my close friends, anybody has heard my poetry. So I had absolutely no idea whether it would be received well, it would be liked or not liked. So I don't know. I've never thought about it at all. The first time I actually ever wrote poetry for a film, now that I'm talking about it, poetry for a film, there was a film called Paap, which released, it was produced and directed by Pooja Bhatt. And she's a close friend of mine. And she was the one who I used to sort of read out my English poetry to. And she was the one who one day came home and put together all my poems, which were scattered everywhere. And she said that this is really well written and you must put it together at some day. So that's when she knew that I had a flair for poetry, and I was doing the dialogue for the movie Paap. And in Paap, there is a sequence where there is a poetry that the leading lady reads out. And that's the first time the hero sees her, and he sees her as not only just a pretty face, but that she's a poetess and that she has a mind of her own. So we were wondering what poetry to use there, and so she was the one who said, you must write something. And for inspiration, she read out that entire afternoon, I still remember this, in her office, Pablo Neruda's poetry. And inspired from those poems, I wrote like a long poem for the film. So yeah, I mean, looking back, I feel, yeah, I have written earlier as well, but I've never thought of publishing because I think poetry is very sacred for me, and I wouldn't want to publish anything unless I think it deserves publication.
Okay, thanks.
Hi. Yeah, this side. Still here. Hi sir, hi ma'am. Yeah, I'm here. Speaking about poetry in general, what are your views about the upcoming spoken word poetry scene within the country and the poetry slams that we're having at a very big frequency throughout the country? If you see Pune, there's a lot of them that's happening very frequently. But in general, what are your views about the spoken word poetry scene within the country?
Shiny, I think you should answer that.
Just the poetry scene, I think it's really vibrant. You know, people, I think they write poetry like he was writing. They write sometimes in secret, or they write and they're not aware of it. You know, they are not ready to go public with it. So poetry is definitely a very powerful medium, and I feel getting more and more popular. Because, you know, the thing is, our relationship with words, it's actually very slippery. All the emotions we feel are prelingual, you know. So words are like the best approximation of what we feel. So therefore that process to refine it is indefinite.
So in general, that's it. So what about spoken word poetry in particular? So spoken word poetry is something that's coming up really well right now within the country.
No, there are many
There
forms
are many
of
forms,
poetry.
obviously,
Yeah. There's many forms of poetry. So that's, I mean, I'm just happy. If you're asking me personally, I'm not against it at all. I mean, I won't stop that or ban that. I'm very happy that the word is being used in so many ways, you know, in novel or short story, poetry, and then many types of poetry. You could just have poem with one word, you know, stop. Just the word stop by itself is like a poem.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. My question is to both of you. Ma'am, sir, your poetry is phenomenal. Like, I'm not fond of that much. I'm not that much fond of poetries. But right now I was sitting here and I was like listening, and it just went with the flow. So I want to ask you, to both of you, that is it like a specific mood which you set while you're writing poetries, or it just comes up while you're writing it?
Like he said, he has to be a little high when he writes
Not
poetry.
always, but yeah.
And ma'am, what about you?
I think for me, poetry is, I'm basically a short story writer. So for me, it's somewhat like that, where a mood or a single emotion takes you on a trip. So the number of words is immaterial. It could be 100, it could be 1, like I said, but it's like a particular thing that you travel through, you know.
For me, the relationship with poetry is slightly different from the rest of the writing that I do, because I think all of us, when we write or when we paint or when we sing, we are all trying to freeze some moments or some emotions in our minds in exactly the way that we feel. And since it's humanly impossible to sort of tangibly hold them, I think we use these different forms to freeze those moments for posterity or even for ourselves after a few years. So I think poetry in that sense helps me the most, because I think there are very, very tiny, minute emotions which of course I can note down in my diary and hope that someday there'll be a scene in a film or a dialogue where I can use them. But not always do I get a chance for that, and there are so many such moments that are also lost, and there are so many such standalone moments. I think poetry helps you sort of grasp them, hold them for a little while longer than any other form, I would say. So that's what I feel about poetry.
My question. Hi. Hello. Hi.
Yeah, sorry.
My question is for you actually. From what I see, you also on a path of discovering writing Urdu poetry. And you write for films. So how difficult it is to write for films, especially now there are a lot of different kind of poetry or lyrics being written. And I want to give an example is that Javed Akhtar writes for Jodha Akbar also and something like Senorita. So it's like two contrasting.
Yes.
So somebody who's discovering himself, writing something new for himself, how difficult is it to adjust to different kind of demands?
Firstly, I think the biggest difference between the two is that one is extremely personal. The other one is like you're almost like a device to translate an emotion which is not necessarily thought by you. So movie lyrics is a very tough medium. It hasn't been that tough for me because I was thrown for the first time into that sea. I learned to write the other kind of poetry post that. So I sort of did, because one of the biggest challenges in movies is that the tune comes first most of the time. So they give you a la 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 ta 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 ta, and then you have to just think of the story character and then fit in your poetry to that tune, and sometimes cut, chop, trim to fit into the tune. So it's a bit of a tedium initially. Having said that, it's also equally challenging that you are trying to say something that is deeply personal without compromising on the story, the characters, the situation, the charts, most important. I think that is the biggest challenge when you write lyrics. In poetry, you have a little bit more of a freedom, but someone told me recently that poetry or dance, she was talking about dancing, but I feel it applies to all kinds of creative art that we study as a craft and try to imbibe. She said कि ये कैद है और आपको इस कैद के अंदर आज़ादी ढूंढनी है. अगर आप इस कैद के अंदर आज़ादी ढूंढ सके तो you have managed to achieve some sort of artistry. So when I say that lyrics, they give you the tune and there are so many other constraints. It's a great challenge and it doesn't always happen, but a lot of times you manage to find that freedom, like I did in maybe not all of my songs, but a few of my songs. I've really, when I hear them back again, first of all, I don't feel they are mine. They are in the universe, and now they seem like someone else has written them. I also sometimes see that it does manage. You can do it. It's not impossible. Of course, it depends on a whole lot of things, but you can do it, and that's the beauty of that medium. And as for me finding it difficult or not finding it difficult, well, I'm clearly finding it very difficult to write lyrics, which is why I've written such few. I mean, nobody comes to me to write lyrics because they say, तो आप तो बहुत evolved लिखते हैं, हमको तो थोड़ा ऐसा चाहिए जो समझ में आए लोगों के. तो I don't know. I'm still trying to grapple. Maybe, I don't know, I wouldn't want to say dilute, but maybe when I find a more simpler way of expressing what I feel, perhaps I'll write more songs.
Good evening. My question is, have you ever faced a writer's block? And if you have, what you did to overcome it? Thank you.
I think the brain also needs R&R. You can't always hold a gun to it and say perform. It needs to sometimes just read what it's written so far, what it's read so far, process that. So writer's block is nothing but your brain saying, I have taken in a lot, and now give me some time to get back to you. So I feel we should respect a writer's block.
I feel I'm in a perpetual state of writer's block. When there are moments when suddenly it sort of looks the other way, that's when I write my poetry or my dialogues, I think. I really think the only thing that makes me write is the pressure of a deadline. Nothing else makes me write, because I'd be happy thinking these thoughts, putting them away, storing them in some corner of my brain and say, "Ke ho gaya, kar liya."
Good evening. Yes. Yeah. Hi. So first of all, thank you so much for this for this discussion also, and for the beautiful poetry. So
Thank you so much.
I want to know, what do you feel? Poetry is something inherent, or could you also learn this art? Because this is a very beautiful art and everybody would like to try it. So can we learn it, or is it only inherent?
I don't believe anything is really inherent. I think everything that you really apply yourself to can be learnt. And I mean, I've done that over a period of years, and not just with poetry. I've done that with music. I heard some songs which I wanted to sing, and I said, I'm going to sing these 10 songs in the next 10 years. I found myself a teacher, and it's been 15 years. I've been learning Hindustani classical music from him. And out of those 10 songs, I managed to sing about 5 of them in tune. So yes, you can do it. If you really love poetry, I'm sure you can learn it. And actually there's nothing to learn also if you ask me, because I think poetry, like I said before, is a fragment of your emotion that you are capturing for posterity. So if it is your emotion, if it is something that you have genuinely felt, then there's nothing to learn really. You just have to put it down on paper, and that's your poetry.
And I feel it's like, you know, when you're traveling in a car and you think, I'll come to a restaurant or something and then I'll go, okay? But then at some point you stop and you have to go. So poetry, I feel it's like a call of nature. You know, you like hold on to it and you feel, this is not worth putting down on paper. But then, you know, there comes a time when those words start forming into lines and they'll become longer lines and you need to put them down somewhere.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is something which I've often wondered, you know, because most writers have like a time, or, you know, when they're writing, you know, like you get up at 10 o'clock or whatever, you write, you know, like most writers, prolific writers, they approach writing as a 9 to 5 job, right? Do poets also do that, or they just write like suddenly in the toilet, the 1 minute ruko and all, and then they go and write something and then they come back, or do they, you know, have a particular time, say, I'm going to write poetry now? Prolific poets, I think. You guys are prolific.
I think you said prolific, and that's the key word. If you want to be prolific, then you have to do it every day. If you really want to be prolific in anything that you want to do, then you have to do it every day, disciplined. Having said that, I'm the most indisciplined writer, whether it comes to poetry or dialogue. Like I said, the only thing that really goads me into writing is a deadline, a gun to my head. So I'm not a disciplined writer at all. And whatever I've read so far to you guys, it's exactly like how you said, ke, "Arey, ye sooj gaya, likh do." Ye kisi kagaz pe. In fact, when Shiny invited me for this session, that's when I actually sat for a couple of hours and took it out from various places. I write them in different notebooks, different diaries at different times. Some of them are on my com, some of them are on my phone. I had to literally collate all of it and see. Yeah, you saw it. He was there while I was. And I had to find everything, and then I emailed it to her and assumed that my work was done, and I landed here without a printout. And she said, "Where is your printout?" I said, "Oh, I'm supposed to have a printout as well now." So yeah, so this particular expression, poems, these are very erratic in my case. Like there are times when I don't write for a couple of years, and then there are times when I write 6 of them in 5 days. So it's a process. It's where you are at in your life. It's also what you are thinking about and which phase of your emotional resonance are you tapping into. So there are some times when I feel that I want to write prose. Like I'm in a state of mind where I write a lot of prose. And then there are some other times when I feel that it's too long and it's too verbose and I need to sort of write it in a form which is more condensed or which is more sort of poetic, so to speak. So then I write poems. So I would like to be much more disciplined than I am. But it is true that discipline, because Gulzar Saab told me this. He said that whenever I ask him, how do you do it? And that's my only question to him every time I meet him. How? How does this happen? How? I don't see you going out of your house and getting these experiences. You're not roaming through all those emotions that I hear you talk about. Where do you get them from? So he says, "Bete, ek to hota hai padhna, ek to hota hai likhna." आप 6 घंटे पढ़ोगे तो 15 मिनट लिख पाओगे. तो और रोज 15 मिनट की जगह अगर 5 घंटे, 3 घंटे, 2 घंटे लिखोगे, उतनी आपकी लिखाई बेहतर होती जाएगी. सो इसे खोजना पड़ता है अल्फाजों को, अपने आप नहीं आते वो. खोजना पड़ता है, दूर से बुलाना पड़ता है, प्यार से सहलाना पड़ता है. सो दैट्स द होल डील, आई थिंक. सो या, दैट रिक्वायर्स डिसिप्लिन, आई गेस.
Hi, I just wanted to ask you that, you know, is modern poetry more prosaic or is it more lyrical? You know, it's gone through its phases of different kinds of poetry, like, you know, there's
metaphysical poetry, there's romantics. You've had T.S. Eliot. Currently, like, where do you see it heading? Either of you can answer that question.
I think, like I said, he was asking, there is all kinds of poetry. The lyrical is, it's a kind of personal give and take between the poet and the reader, you know. So what is lyrical to me may not be to you. And, but there is something, that is what we are hunting for in actually all writings, all dialogues that we hear and everything that we read. You know, I think there is something lyrical, otherwise we would not chase it, you know. I don't know, that's what I feel that there is. There's a line in prose that I wrote, hope is a refined form of self-abuse, you know. And someone said, oh, that's so poetic. So, but that's in prose. But then in my poetry, there would be something like prose. When I say, I am that woman, that's, you know, you say that all the time. But in the context of writing, I feel not just in poetry, in all kinds of poetry, there is some lyricism. There is something lyrical that calls out to you.
Thank you.
Hi. So let's try this for a question. How important would you consider being inebriated to write? Well, you can talk about various substances, not limiting it to something. So yes, what is your comment on that?
Niranjan will reply to this.
Yeah, I fell into that trap, didn't I? I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether I should be advocating it or I should be encouraging it or I should be endorsing it. But I have to be honest, it helps. Without getting into the specifics, yeah, it at least helps me. But on some days, like there is one poem which I read out, which was Dam Ghutta Hai. That was written in extreme anger. So there was no inebriation there. There was no intoxication there, and there was no trying to numb any of my senses. It was alive. It was born out of anger. Again, Ye Sheher, which was like my ode to Bombay city, which was bleak and very dark. Even that was born out of my trip from Film City after a particularly bad day at shooting while I was traveling from Film City to Parel, which is where I live. And it was a rainy day and I was passing through, my car was traveling and I could see all the things that I mentioned in my poem there. So, I mean, not always, it's not that you have to always be inebriated to write or that you have to be always intoxicated to write. It depends on what you're writing, it depends on what you're feeling. So yeah, it's personal, I guess.
Hi. I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything. I have read poetry for a very long time, but I've always felt that while you are listening to Hindi poetry, you connect quite easily because that is the language that you speak in, you think in. And when it comes to English poetry, it is a tad bit difficult to connect to the audience, and it is a tad bit difficult for English poetry to have popularity. Ma'am, do you feel that? And if yes, then what motivates you to keep writing just in English?
No, I don't feel that, because I think you need to write whatever you write in the language you're thinking in. That's your first language. So if I tried to write in Malayalam, which is my mother tongue, I would not get the same connect. So the language that I'm thinking in, when I have a fight with my husband and I don't get the last word in, I go to sleep, but then I get it. That's the language I need to use.
I don't know whether I completely agree that it's difficult for English poetry to connect and that Hindi poetry can. I think we all also have a lot more accessibility to Hindi language because of the films we watch and the songs that we've been hearing for years on end. So we feel closer to it, and we feel that there are some ideas and some combinations, there's some rhythms, or there's some sort of a tune to the way the language flows, and we've heard it for so long from so many people that we are familiar with it. But I think, I mean, English poetry is just as popular if you see all across the world. And yeah, and as for using the language for poetry in which you think, again, I'm a bit of an anomaly because I think in English. Some days I think in Marathi. Some days I think in Hindi. Some days I think in Tamil. So I really don't know which language I actually think in. Because there are some arguments that are fantastic in Marathi. You cannot have that argument in Hindi or Gujarati. You cannot. You know, because in 3 words you can just shut the opposite person up, which is not possible sometimes. You're like grappling for words in it. So there are certain things that are just meant for certain languages. So I keep oscillating between them. So yeah.
Here. So my question is that is it an absolute necessity to have very strong emotions when you're writing poetry? Or is it like, you know, can you just write off the top of your head?
I think it's important to have strong emotions about anything you do. Not just poetry. Shiny.
Excuse me.
To have strong feelings. I think if you're writing nonsense rhyme, or if you're writing something, you know, you're trying to write something funny or something absurd, then maybe you could start off with nothing in your head. Thank you, Niranjan, so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your poetry.
And thank you everyone so much.